You put all this stuff in here yourself, right? Organize it all yourself.
Yeah, as you can tell, it's not the greatest. They get better, but I had a lot of great memories. I mean, that was a good part of my fight. I had a 15 fight win streak at the time, and 7 of the fights came in the IFL. I had 5, destructive knockouts along with it, so it was a good time for me. The Rico Rodriguez fight was kind of like the turn of the IFL for me. Like, everything was great up until that fight, and that is at that fight that I was kind of like, what are these guys doing? Because I was getting feelings and rumors that my contract was up after that fight, and that there was this word about they were trying to get me a tough enough opponent just to give me one loss to kind of like keep me there. And obviously I thwarted their plans and beat them, and things are just the entire everything kind of was changing with the IFL. They changed everything after that. I wasn't interested in the World Series or the Grand Prix that they had, because I was like, hey man, I paid my dues to the owners. Like, I paid my dues, and he's like, I'm getting these other offers for decent money, and you don't want to raise my money. And he goes, but the belt, Ben, the belt. I'm like, that belt ain't gonna pay my bills. Are you kidding me? I remember telling that right to his face. And that was pretty much the end of my IFL career right there. And yeah, I moved on, went on and had a huge fight that paid me what would have taken me, like, I feel like 5 years in the IFL to have made. I made it in one fight, so.
It was like 200 grand?
250,000. It was that point in time that I learned I had to invest in myself. Nobody else is gonna do it for me. So here I am. This is this shadow box takes it to the beginning of my career. There's a lot of history here that falls back on why I'm even still fighting. So you can see I still have hair in this picture. So this is way back. This is back in 2000, 2001. This was a 16-man tournament I competed in. I fought once Friday night, and I had to fight 3 times Saturday night to try and win that tournament. I only ended up fighting twice. But it was three fights in 2 days. So that was something definitely unique. I don't think many people could say that. This is my 4th fight, and I literally used the double hand on the throat, aka rape choke, to win a fight. So that was unique, and I talked about, this was a story written about how obscene the fight was, because there was blood all over the ring, and I beat the guy down so bad, so it was always an interesting story. And this is your, like, oh, Tito Ortiz, when's he got that up? Well, this was the very first UFC I ever went to. It was after my very first set of fights. And then a week later, we went to Iowa City to watch the UFC that went there. And Tito Ortiz was selling shirts, so I thought it was cool, so I bought one. And then 2 days later, when I came back from Iowa and I was all jacked up with my first 2 wins of my beginning of my career and everything like that, a drunk driver struck me down. And you can still see the blood on the shirt. This was the first responders had cut the shirt off of me, and this was the man. So I kept that as a reminder, because unfortunately in this incident, my best friend at the time passed away. We hit a tree from the drunk driver hitting us, and when I seen the car afterwards, I realized that my life could have been taken so quickly, so easily, and how lucky I was to have been alive. And he unfortunately wasn't so lucky. So I made a personal vow that I'm going to become a world champion, and I'm still living on that today, and I'm going to meet my goal, and I'm going to honor him and honor our life, and I'm going to make that happen. So here, as you can see, we go into different shadow boxes. I hand make these, and you can see now this is my last win, biggest win of my career, but also it was my most recent win. As you can see, the shadow boxes get a little better each time, so that I kind of progress. As you can see, it's cleaner. I don't use pins now. Get a little better. So on this particular fight, I remember the moments before I go out to the fight, before they call me out to the fight, there was the Fox panel, and they were talking about who's going to win, and everybody counted me out. Everybody said Overeem, and I was a big 5-0 underdog, and that was the last thing I remember going out. And I just remember, man, they have no idea. And I knew I was going to win. I just feel it in my heart. I'm just in a different place now. And that was a big moment for me, because I proved a lot to myself. One thing that's awesome is when you have something in your mind, you're like, I see it, I want to make this happen. Well, that's what the spot was in the gym. I cleared this spot out, and I told everybody that when I win, I put the posters up, and I said, I'm going to have a poster. That poster's going right here. And I won the fight, and there the poster is. So it was good to see something that in my mind I knew was going to make happen.